Boom. I'm leading the show. Boom. Perfect.
Bro, we all got this thing, right? I'm going to set it up. We all have this thing. And no, I'm not talking about what do we all have. We got a lot of things in common. But there's one thing in particular we all got for damn sure. Insecurities. Bro, okay, so boom. Insecurities. We're just going to go back and forth. We're going to dissect it. What's something you're insecure about?
Oh, I'm insecure about relationships. So I never fell romantically in love ever. I'm still a love virgin. So I worry sometimes that no one will love me or that I'm unlovable. But I know that's just crazy talking that I haven't found the right girl yet. But,
Still young.
Still
Very young.
Still young. But, sometimes you just get so caught up in something it's almost a complex where I'm craving for it. But, I really just need to stop that.
Yeah. I'm glad that you know the difference between where your insecurities lie and the fact that you're not trying to give into the insecurity and be that hopeless romantic guy who's wasting time with girls who are just trying to have fun. You know what I'm saying? Literally just happened right before we came on air, right?
For real.
You don't have to get into it, but you know what I'm saying? We know what it is, right? There's some people out there who aren't looking for what you're looking for. And sometimes if you have those insecurities, you're willing to give a piece of yourself up to try to chase something that's just not there.
Not worth it.
Not worth it. I feel your insecurity for sure because I sometimes think to myself, because I was jaded very early, very young through trauma. I'm like, will I ever be able to taste that love that everybody's talking about? I think I've said this before. I think people just have versions of love and you can only express your version of love and stop looking at what other people thought of as, because if your version doesn't meet that criteria, you're going to think that you never met it. But for you personally, bro, you might just express love in your own way. Hey, I went out of my way to freaking get you gelato at midnight. Bitch, I love you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
That's a good insecurity though. I feel that.
What about you?
Dude, I'm just going to get straight to it. I'm probably going to go from top of the list to bottom. So I have puffy nipples, dog. And it really pisses me off.
Shut up, bro.
Dude, swears, bro. Swears.
Oh, man.
If I eat a bunch of rice, my nipples get puffy. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro? It looks weird because the rest of me is fit. But then I'll just have puffy nipples.
Puffy nipple game.
So then I'll end up wearing layers or I'll end up wearing black. And then I grew up going from fat. And then I grew height wise, and then I became skinny fat, and then I joined the army and I became fit. But then the puffy nipples were still haunting me.
Yeah.
So I had to choose my wardrobe carefully, and it really pisses me off because I always have to position myself and try to make it seem like nobody. And you know what's weird? Maybe nobody would ever notice, but it's something that I do super insecure about.
Hence insecurities, bro. That's part of the reason. But
half of them are irrational.
Yeah.
But they're
and
yours.
I feel you on that bodily insecurity. Mine's not necessarily just nipples, but I've always not been really happy. Even when I worked out a lot, I was not very happy with the way that my body looked.
How so?
It was I just really want great definition, and I'm not sure if that's super in the cards for me. I'd have to dedicate a lot of time to get good definition. My body type is more of a husky body type where I'm not fat at all, but I don't get huge definition. My muscles just get really big when I exercise.
But bro, you got to think too, bro, is that you're going to grow a lot. You're so young
That's
that
true.
at this
I'm
point, bro,
line.
your body, I had no idea what my body was going to be until later on. So that's just something that you're going to have to wait on a little bit. Not downplaying your insecurity, but I'm just saying you know what I'm saying? But still valid, right? Because those are your insecurities. Yeah. So you just spoke about my last insecurity. So what's another one for you?
Oh, my insecurity was always my left eye. So I have like a weird seeing thing where my left eye's pretty weak. Like I can see out of it okay, but it's not very good vision, and it's always like a huge insecurity to me that like I'm going to miss someone making fun of me on my left side, or like or people are going to find out about it and like snap over here or like hold up fingers and see if I can really see it.
Ooh.
But that was just dumb because honestly, like people don't know that about me really. And so unless I told them and then they were like real jerks and went out of their way to make fun of it, they would never.
Like,
so.
hey, guess what I know about Kavik? Check this out.
And then they're like waving their hand over here.
That's so funny that you said that thing about the eye, because really embarrassing story. I went to Maui with a friend of mine and I got tore up. Like I got so drunk, it's beyond comprehension. And so basically what happened was I stopped. I know this. I don't remember that night completely, but I do know this. I stopped breathing a couple times. And I think that I might have had like a low-key stroke, and it's probably happening right now as we speak. But like this eyebrow will like sag if I get even a little bit tired or fatigued. This eye will like droop lower than this eye, and it really fucks with my head because like at that point, bro, like it just looks ridiculously stupid.
Like some Looney Tunes
Yeah,
stuff.
bro. It just, and it really makes me mad because I could feel the weight. I could even feel it right now. But it's just one of those things, right? One, I brought it upon myself. Two, maybe somebody else wouldn't notice, but I do. And that's what pisses me off about it the most.
It might be a little mental too, because I would have never noticed, and I can barely even. I don't even know if it's really happening, but
it's definitely a thing. So the eyes, right? We both got eyes. Another insecurity that I have for me, I'm constantly how do I explain this? I'm really insecure about where I fall into other people's lives. Like, do I really matter to other people the way that they matter to me? I think I'm really insecure about that because I never really felt like I had a home in people's lives. Like I always felt like other people really trusted each other and connected with each other, but I never
that
felt
you were
like
just sitting outside the circle.
I always felt like I was like I have coworkers that I like see their Snap stories or I see their Instagram and they're hanging out, and I sit back by myself and I think to myself like, what, like. Did I ever cross your guys' mind? Like, did you guys ever think to yourselves, hey, we should invite, Delgado? Like, hey, we work with him too.
Yeah.
He's around. And it really makes me feel insecure because then I'm thinking, well, what's wrong with me? I think I'm kind of dope, right? Maybe that's just the slight bit of narcissistic version of me that thinks I'm dope. Maybe I'm the opposite of dope. Maybe there's something that I'm doing wrong, and it makes me feel really insecure and shitty when I see people that I know personally. We've known each other for 4 years. I've never even been to a barbecue. I've never been over to your house, and you never like hit me up for plans. It's kind of a shitty feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
Super insecure about that.
I have something kind of similar. It's a little bit different though. Like I get insecure about how I come off to people when I first meet them. Like first impressions are obviously a big deal, but I don't know. When I first meet people, I really try to give them a good idea or a good impression of who I am as a person. Like I try to act fully me so that they have a grasp or a basis to go off. And I always worry that that people don't like me, like right when they first meet me, and that. It's just kind of stupid, because like who cares? Like if they don't like me, then they're not worth
in
my time.
hindsight, who cares, right? But this is the thing, we're tribal humans. We've literally evolved from tribe, so of course it's a survival thing to be like, hey, I want to be liked because my ape brain is like, hey, this is a survival thing, like I want to be liked. But sometimes you just can't help that gut reaction, right? I always, right? And people who say I don't care the most are the people who care the most. I'm not afraid to say I do care. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to rub people the wrong way. The only difference between me now and those insecurities is that I'm no longer willing to waive myself for the sake of being liked. But that doesn't mean I still don't want to be liked. I do. Feels
good.
But
now you have a firm place to stand on. You're like, no, this is me.
This is me.
I am who I am, but I'd still like to be included and well liked,
Yep. Speaking on this and who I am, I'm really insecure about what I deem as my moral compass. Sometimes I think to myself, maybe I am biased when it comes to things. Maybe I'm cynical when it comes to things. I've had really bad experiences in the past, and I felt like maybe I'm projecting, and maybe on top of the fact that I'm bipolar, right? So it constantly makes you think like, is the narrative that I'm creating reality, or is it completely absurd and I can't even trust myself?
You're trapped in that fantasy, right?
Right. Like, am I creating a narrative that is so displaced from reality that I'm actually just like in some freaking Looney Tune world?
Fantasy world?
Or am I right and fuck the rest, right? And both are kind of scary, because if I give in, maybe I'm giving up a piece of myself, or maybe I need to stick to my guns and succeed in this thing, right? So sometimes I think crazy things, and then I just spit it out, and then I'm like super insecure after it comes out, like, oh fuck, dude, like, why did I say that? But then it gets a response that says, I'm not freaking alone, so who's crazy now, bitch? You know, but that doesn't mean that I'm not still insecure about things, especially when I hurt people's feelings. Believe it or not, when I go through comment sections and I see people butthurt, I don't love it. I find it entertaining sometimes, but I don't love the fact that somebody was truly
because
butthurt.
you don't want to go out there and hurt anyone's feelings, but
Definitely not
it
my
happens
goal.
in the process. It's unavoidable.
Right. Like if being true to me offends you, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Me in the past would have wavered or bowed down to you and what you want. I'm not doing that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Bring what you need to bring to the table. I'm not about to make excuses for you anymore. And I don't think men should make excuses for anybody. You know what I'm saying? But besides the point, what's another insecurity, man?
Mine's kind of, it's always been kind of like clothes, dude. Honestly, it's a really dumb one, but since I was a kid, I've gotten hand-me-downs, and like we never spent a lot of money on clothes as a family. And I'm not throwing any hate my parents' direction. You know, they did what they could. But because of that, I have like a really goofy sense of style where I really just throw outfits together. And sometimes they look really good on accident, and other times I look like a complete clown. And I worry like how people perceive me based off what I dress like, because I don't care what I wear really.
Yeah.
Because of that, but I worry about what people think about what I'm wearing.
Yeah, because you might feel good. All right, so like embarrassing story, right? When I was going from my growth spurt where I was like going from a medium to like growing into a large, but I didn't want to come to terms with that. I went through a spurt where I literally was wearing the tightest freaking shirts ever, and I wasn't even in shape like that. I was just focusing on the arms.
Shirts.
And that was embarrassing, but I felt like I felt good and buff, but in reality, I looked like an idiot. And then I went to that large and I was like, okay, I'm a man now. This is what I have to do. Yeah. I'm a large now, right? So I totally get what you're saying. Like sometimes you think that you look great, and then like right now, right? Somebody might be like, what the hell is he doing? What the hell is he wearing? But the only difference is now, when I used to be insecure about that, I don't be caring now. Literally, I don't be caring.
Over it. That's good.
Over it. I think another insecurity for me is I feel like I'm never adequate enough for a girl that I'm with. I always feel like in my mind, I'm competing with her past. And I know that's so toxic, but it's true. It's an insecure thought. And I know it is fully. I feel like I'm constantly comparing myself and competing for a past that I have no idea who they are, what they're about. But it doesn't stop me from making that comparison. You know what I'm saying? And then it's so toxic, bro, because I literally stay up at night thinking about things, trying to perfect myself for somebody. And she might not even think or dwell on that, right?
Yeah, or even notice the changes that you're making for
What's
that.
my dick compared to his? What's my car compared to his? You know? What's my bank account compared to his? He took you to a trip to Japan. Bitch, I got you on a trip to LNL. I don't know if I got you to Japan.
Yeah.
You know? He had a freaking what car?
Yeah.
I got you on a Volvo though.
Yeah.
Drop top.
Drop top.
Brenda, shout out. But no, bro, I stay comparing myself to guys I have no idea about because I see other guys winning and I'm just kind of like, dude, my ex could have been with that guy. And it's a really insecure jealousy. And it's ugly. It's an ugly insecurity, and I'm trying to fix it day by day. But, you know, one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
You ever compare yourself to other guys?
Not necessarily, but
God bless you.
Yeah, for when it comes to relationship type stuff, I never really compare myself to previous. But I do, I don't know. I compare myself to like this idea of me in my head being the perfect partner or boyfriend, right? I'm like, oh, you should have done this differently, or oh, come on, what are you doing, bro? Like, do better, etc.
Yeah, so like you never think to yourself like, hey, any of this could have possibly been her. You're just kind of like honing in
exactly.
on where
if there's
you
any
went wrong.
Problems happening, I automatically assume that that's on me and that like I gotta fix stuff.
I think that comes from, I could be wrong, but I'm like hyper accountable, right? Like I always have to send screenshots of messages that I get that are messed up to my best friend to be like, hey, am I messed up,
is there
or
something
is this
wrong with me, or
yeah,
are they
like
crazy?
yes, exactly, because I'm hyper accountable. So somebody might be bashing me and verbally abusing me over a text message, and because I'm hyper accountable, I feel like I'm in the wrong, but it's in reality it's a narcissistic manipulator who's toxic, who's trying to control the narrative. But I just need my friend to be like, bro, I know you're my friend, I'm not just telling you this. Fuck that bitch. She's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you're that bitch and you happen to watch this, you know exactly who you are. Hate to sound like that bitter guy, but you know who you are. So yeah, man. And that's another reason why friends are super important. On that note, I just want to close out with this. If you're dealing with insecurities, not freaking alone. They might sound crazy, irrational, whatever, but you can always work on it, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, stay strong. You got this.
Let's work.
We're doing a survey around the country on the way population handles themselves and speaks and deals with their friends and interact with